Chapter 183. The roots of the dragon tree held the elemental heart in its mouth, offering it to the divine tree for inspection. Astonished by such a beautiful treasure, he began to feel a strange creative inspiration. This heart was the life core of the steel element. If following this logic, the divine tree could be considered a wood element. Surely in this world, there must also be life elements of fire and wind. Growing more curious, the divine tree couldn't wait and began to devour the elemental heart. The light of the fusion reaction, unable to be contained, burst forth from the dragon's mouth, after which the divine tree threw it straight into its crystal core. Space immediately fluctuated. As the divine tree's body was undergoing a continuous process of biochemical transformation, rebuilding its body. At this moment, the divine tree commanded the nine-tailed fox beside it, "Nine Tails, give me my life heart." Nine Tails immediately agreed. She opened her mouth and a faint green sphere, enveloped by dark lightning, slowly emerged from her mouth. You may remember, the divine tree had entrusted this heart to the nine-tailed fox in case of unforeseen circumstances. If this body dies, as long as this heart remains, it will rise again. Looking at its heart one last time, the divine tree's plan was to fuse its heart with the elemental heart, wondering what miracle it would create. The divine tree then placed its own heart into the core, and the reaction process began. A strange spiritual force carrying a terrifying pressure began to emanate from the divine tree's mouth, causing all of Misty Mountain to shake violently. The land and mountains seemed to collapse. Then, there was only silence. The divine tree stood still, its core dimmed, as if it had died. The system screen displayed, "Skill of elemental assimilation can convert different elements into the element of steel. Nurturing skill can use the steel heart to nurture the characteristics of steel. Swallowing skill can acquire the characteristics of metal by swallowing metal." The divine tree awakened. Suddenly a mad idea appeared in its mind. With this skill, couldn't the entire earth be transformed into steel? These new skills completely baffled the divine tree, especially the swallowing skill, which would allow it to acquire the properties of metal. This time, it would have to find books to read about the properties of various metals again. It couldn't rush. It would take time to understand this skill. Looking at the handful of metal in its hand, the divine tree had another idea. It needed to find new metals with unusual properties. But in the world of iron and steel, there were only ordinary metals, nothing special. "Nine Tails, go find some special metals and bring them to me." Nine Tails immediately obeyed. But this was a twofold task. Nine Tails wanted to ask the divine tree for permission to go and assist Xiaoling, who was currently being sent by the Federation to exterminate the White Dragon. Hearing the name of the White Dragon, the divine tree was a bit surprised. Dragons were legendary powerful creatures. Fighting with a dragon was not to be taken lightly, so the divine tree ordered, "Take the Black Bull with you. I still need to focus on the process of assimilating with the metal elemental heart." Nine Tails bowed her head in obedience. She always understood her master. He was not naturally cautious, except in cases where he was 100% sure. In a strange forest, loud noises continuously erupted, shaking an entire region. A pure white dragon was roaring in anger. It was fighting with dozens of human powerhouses. Suddenly a giant purple spider bared its fangs, biting into the body of the white dragon. The white dragon roared in pain. This bite definitely carried poison. It was extremely vicious. The white dragon used its dragon breath to counterattack, turning the spider into dust. Xiaoling attacked. Fire Butterfly. A large fire butterfly rushed straight into the white dragon like a pillar of fire, hitting the dragon's throat. The divine elephant seized the moment when the dragon was in a disadvantageous position. He launched his familiar ultimate move, Sky Collapse. His two legs aimed straight at the dragon's head. If this hit, the dragon would meet its maker. But from nowhere, a black flame shot straight into the face of the divine elephant. The divine elephant didn't understand what had happened. This was not a skill of this white dragon. The next second, the divine elephant was thrown back to his original position. At this moment, the two sides were again engrossed in each other. Next to the white dragon, a monster resembling a fox, but its whole body was a strange dark blue flame. Its ferocious face was grinning maliciously at Xiaoling's group. These powerhouses were quite astute, immediately guessing that this could be a mutated fire fox. Indeed, too many bizarre creatures had appeared in this world, this fox was no exception. It was unclear whether its fur was always on fire or only during combat, but it must be said, its form was quite cool. In the distance, a group of people were observing the battle. These were Xiaoling's subordinates, and there was also a blonde kid following them, probably the kid who was kidnapped by the red-haired beastman the other day. The vampire saw this scene, knowing that it was almost their turn to take action, just needing a little more patience. Indeed, the beastman also agreed to wait, as the spokesperson had not yet spoken. If they joined at this moment, it could expose the spokesperson. They called Xiaoling the spokesperson? In that case, the leader of this dark guild would be the Divine Tree, and Xiaoling probably considered herself the spokesperson. Suddenly, two figures swept past, faster than lightning. The vampire was also a powerhouse, so naturally, he could sense the two terrifying forces heading towards them. The beastman also sensed it, a bit of unease rising, because these two had too much power. If they were enemies, they would be done for. The next second, these two had landed, right behind them. The vampire anxiously turned to look. It was the Black Bull and the Nine-Tailed Fox, two main forces with very high ranks in Misty Mountain, standing before these two war gods. The vampire guy felt like he should just kneel down for safety. End of chapter 183.